Hello, everybody. This is Travis from CampHacker.tv. I'm excited to do a special interview today with Jeff Merhige and Amy Miller, and there's some really great stuff to talk to us. And as a Star Wars fanboy from the time I was 7, it's such a great program. I'm really excited about this. So, Amy and Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Jeff, I think that my understanding of this is that this has come a bit from that you helped to get this started in the camp world. And what we're talking about specifically is the Star Wars Camp program and the toolkit that Lucasfilm has developed for camps to use to bring program activities related to Star Wars into camp programs. But before we do that, what I want to do is start with you, Jeff, and just have you tell us a bit about your own camp experience and how you fit into the camp world.
Sure. Well, like a lot of people, I was a camp kid. I grew up going to a few different camps in Ohio, and then I went off to college to be a teacher. So I was working my way through college for the Detroit YMCA as a camp counselor and a program director. And then when I graduated, I wanted to be a teacher. And after a year of teaching, I realized I really liked working with kids in the outdoors. So I came back to camping professionally in 1995 and started my way up through there. I worked for Dayton YMCA camps, and then I went to Ann Arbor, where I was director of camping services and financial development. And then in 2002, I returned to Dayton to become the executive director at YMCA Camp Kern, and I've been here, 11 years.
It sneaks up on you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really did, actually. I remember taking the job thinking that I would be here for 5 years, and then I was coming really close to the camp's 100th anniversary, so I stayed. And then just had a lot of fun and been able to work with a lot of kids and work on a lot of cool projects. So it's been really great.
Well, that's great. And Amy, do you have any camp experience?
I was a camper when I was a kid, and it was a very, very memorable experience, which is a reason why that we started this toolkit, because it's a lot of people have a history with camp and remember just their time at camp. So yeah, I was a YMCA and Big Bear attendee every year up until 14.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amy, what's your biggest memory or strongest memory from your own camp experience?
I think it's just the teamwork and making friends that you have for a lifetime. I still I'm best friends with with a girl who I met at camp when we were 10 years old.
Yeah. I think we all have that experience. Is it right? It sticks with you forever. Mm-hmm. Cool. So I'll throw this to either one of you. I would like to know sort of how the toolkit got started and what was the original impetus for it, where it came from.
Sure. Amy?
Yeah, go for it, Jeff.
Back in 2009, Lucasfilm was exploring how to work with possibly camps, and there was some really cool referrals, which led to my getting the opportunity to talk with them, and that led to the first toolkit, which was the CloneWarsCamp.com toolkit. And that was a really exciting time because Lucasfilm was doing the animated series Clone Wars, and it was so cool because it was introducing the Star Wars universe to another generation of kids. And so it was really fun to work with them, and they have been overwhelmingly gracious in how they've been able to accommodate camps. And then this year, with all the changes, the decision was to launch a Star Wars toolkit, and I was lucky enough to get partnered with Amy, who is amazing and has been a serious spearhead in making this toolkit come about. And it's been really neat because this one is based on movies 4, 5, and 6, but it also combines everything that's going on. So it's been really, really fun. But I can't say enough about Amy. She's been a serious force behind making this happen.
Well, so is Jeff. He's been key in even before I even started with the company. He worked on the Clone Wars Camp Toolkit, which was fantastic. And kids have been playing with Star Wars, since it came out. They've been creating their own games in their backyards, creating, the trench scene between their couch cushions. I mean, it's every kind of fun, imaginary thing that they can think of. The movies really brought these great games to life for them and an imagination. So we just created a toolkit, taking it from the Clone Wars now into Star Wars, now that we're focusing again on creating a new movie. So we've been able to create this free toolkit to localize a place where all these games can be, crafts, games, and trivia for the more well-known Star Wars fans.
And that's been the best part, is taking what kids and adults have done for 30 years since Star Wars came about, thanks to Mr. Lucas. But what neat about this is adding a little bit of camp magic. So now kids can live out that magic of their imagination to the Star Wars universe with a little bit of camp environment and counselors, and making also the educational component happen. So now we can spark their imagination, use the camp magic to make it happen, and then teach some really valuable lessons like teamwork and good decision making. And that's what the toolkit's mostly about, is how can we use their imagination to teach them lessons.
Exactly.
And what sort of things are there in there, Amy, that push kids out of the boundaries and push them to try new things and explore the Star Wars universe in a way?
Sure. So a lot of our games are reskins of classic camp games. So it makes kids comfortable because it's games that they know already. There's games like Capture the Flag style games where teams can work together, so they get that great camaraderie in there as well, but using Star Wars characters and ideals. I think one of the other great parts of the kit is the crafts, because you get both the boys and the girls interested in doing craft time, because you get to create your own lightsaber and use that lightsaber all week or all day to be your own Jedi. Or you can go out as a group and collect rocks and then paint those rocks to your favorite characters. So there's quite a few things that that bring the kids in because they're comfortable, they know the territory, but then they get to also have fun with the characters and use them in a different way.
That's great.
Yeah.
Jeff, what have been some of the magical moments that you've seen with implementing Star Wars Camp, even from back as far as the Clone Wars games that you had?
It's been pretty amazing because the flexibility of the toolkit allows us to work with groups as small as 10 kids up to big games as large as 500 kids at once. So for me, the very first time we ran Planetary Olympics in the old toolkit was really special because it was an entire day. It was 500 kids, all ages, separated, representing different planets, and competing in the Olympics. That was pretty cool. We even converted chariots into pods and had pod racing. And that was a really cool scenario. In the new kit, I'm really excited about Escape from the Death Star. It allows us to have probably about 250 kids to 300 at night in the big game scenario for camps that run evening programs and big games. We get to revisit that story of going back to the Death Star and making some things happen in Escape. So it's really neat to see how the kids get into it, because we focus on about 70% of detail, and then 30% of that imagination kicks in with that camp magic around them, and you really see the kids get into it. You see the counselors get into the roles they're playing, where they're playing stormtroopers, and the kids are sneaking on to get the plans, and it's really neat when you see that kick in, and you see how much they play with it and how much fun. There's a lot of problem solving in the games. There's a lot of going on quests to find the answers or to find the codes. And then we play with some really cool things from the Star Wars universe, like TK421 is involved in there, and stuff that diehards from the universe will be able to attach to. And then I would say that one of the most special moments was outside of playing the toolkit, when parents drop off their kids or when they pick them up, especially in our fully week themed Star Wars, it's kind of neat to see the parents be able to relate to a theme that camp's doing. Because you got the parents who grew up with the original Star Wars movies, and now you have the kids who have been introduced first to Clone Wars, and now they're about to get introduced to Star Wars all over again. And so you can see parents relating to each other, and when kids are talking about what they did at camp, you see this recognition in their eyes. They're like, "Oh yeah, I know what an Ewok is. I totally know what a Sith is," and it's fun. And you see that combination of parent and adult sharing something that's meant something to both of them. And then, like I said, you get to add in, you learned a lot about teamwork, and you learned about making good choices versus bad choices. You learn about frustrations can lead to bad choices. So, let's work on the good stuff.
That's brilliant. I really like the idea, and I mean, this happens at camp quite often, where you, by creating a framework, a theme, so in this case, the Star Wars theme, and just putting a little bit of things in place, it allows staff and campers to, I don't know why, but that little bit of structure seems to open up their minds and let them just go crazy with all of the things that they can do, and just build and build and build on it.
Exactly. And the toolkit is great for the fact that it has small games all the way up to long whole day games. So you can really mix and match, like Jeff had mentioned, the Planetary Olympics, that you can add in and make your own. So each camp could be different, each year can be different. It's really nice for that flexibility.
It's really fun when the counselors let their imagination go in preparation with their costumes. I have been amazed these past 4 years how in-depth the costumes have gotten, and I've been lucky enough to share all those photographs with Amy and her team.
Them.
And when you see what the counselors and the kids do, and when kids know they're coming to Star Wars Week, they'll bring costumes too, and there's just nothing better because everyone just lets their imagination rip with these details. We had a General Grievous last summer that was unbelievable.
Amazing.
The counselor worked on it for probably 2 or 3 weeks, and the kids really responded to it. And we were also really lucky. The 501st came and participated in one of our evening games. So we had these really cool, officially decked out characters that just blew the kids' minds and the counselors. It turned into a really fun night.
Yeah, the local... Sorry.
No, I was just, and you're probably going to answer this. I was going to say, before we get too far, we should let people who don't know all of the Star Wars stuff know who the 501st are.
Yes, the 501st is our fan legion who dress up as stormtroopers, Vader, every type of character you can think of, and they travel around the country and are often local to different territories, and they go to hospitals or different events, and they offer their time, usually for donation, to their favorite charities in order to go to these different events and play the characters. And they're just a fantastic group that I have to recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're separate from us, but we use them all the time, and they're the best fans we can ask for.
They're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just so impressive to see 50 or more stormtroopers and a Vader in real life. You're like, man, how awesome! It blows my mind every time when I see. Now, I haven't seen them in person, but I've seen pictures from the cons and different things. It's always like they're always doing such cool things because they're so charity minded. So It's great that they made it to camp.
Exactly.
Our check-in day was amazing. We had a Boba Fett and a couple of stormtroopers, and even kids and parents checking in for other programs. They all came by to get photographs, and you saw the Star Wars love was very apparent in all of the parents. I saw one dad dragging his camper over, said, "I know you're not in this program, but I need a picture with the stormtrooper." And so it really set the tone, and we try and do that. Like the weeks that we're running Star Wars Week, we like to start it from check-in to check-out. But like Amy said, we also, for different programs, they'll play maybe an individual activity. all camp will play an all camp evening game, and then at the same time the fully immersed week is going on, and those kids in that program will join in on the big game, and it just makes their Star Wars universe twice as big. And so
Exactly.
it's just a fun overlapping programming and camp programming.
And I do want to mention that in the toolkit we have a whole page on the 501st and how they can get involved. So that gives you a little information. And also, you know, our toolkit has, you know, the games and the crafts, but if you do want to make it a bigger deal, there are a lot of recipes out there. There's other ways, and we want to stay in touch with everybody, you know, so if there's questions like that, or how can we add to it, or what else can we do, people can always email us at publicity@lucasfilm.com, and we're happy to continue to work with individual camps and make it the best experience possible.
Oh, that's so great. So great. I wish I was directing camp still. Okay, so publicity at lucasfilms.com.
Lucasfilm singular. Yeah.
It's Lucasfilm. Okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because that's, thank you. I was going to ask for that, if there are sort of a general place where camps can share that and see.
Yeah, we love
other camps
pictures and, you know, just to keep up with everybody. We feel like this is such a personal effort, and, you know, we've loved working with Jeff and his camp and getting those pictures and seeing how people are interacting with Star Wars. We really do care about our fans and our base, and just want to hear from them.
Excellent. Excellent. So before I'm going to move off of the toolkit and just a couple wrap-up questions, but before I do that, Amy, can you tell us where people can download the kit, please?
Yes, please visit www.starwars.com/camp toolkit, and there you'll find the button to click through to get the PDF.
Yeah. That's great. So it comes in the form of a PDF, has all of the games and activities that we've been talking about and instructions.
Exactly.
And obviously a couple of good nuggets like how to reach out to the 501st.
Exactly. And also stay tuned on that, you know, continue to visit starwars.com /camp toolkit. We're going to be starting a competition, or, you know, some kind of sweepstakes where people are going to email in their pictures and give us their information on how they're using it, and we'll have maybe something we can send out to them. So we just want to keep people engaged and get them something fun to get back to their camps.
Great.
That's a big deal too, because Amy sends really cool stuff.
Right on. Well, I can just picture, you know, wherever you end up hosting it, Amy, Pinterest or something, that there is obviously on StarWars.com, pictures from all over. It'd be great to see them. Everybody's cool ideas.
Yeah.
Because one of my favorite parts, I mean, the toolkit's, it's nice, and the cartoons that have been done for it are great, and there's some images drawn from the films as well. But my favorite part of it is seeing the staff and campers that have gone to such lengths to dress up and get ready for it. And I assume, Jeff, that the Grievous that's in there is from Kern.
A lot of those staff pictures did originate from some of our past weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, it's neat because what we try and do is the staff gets a lot of notice of when we're going to run Star Wars, and then they get the opportunity to choose characters and general characters, and it's pretty interesting to see how far they'll go. One of my favorites last year was the Ewoks that the counselors did, and the 501st really got into it too, and that's why we had this Ewoks taken prisoner picture with the 501st and the camp counselors, and that's one of my favorite pictures. But your staff can do anything, and you know, camps are always looking at budget and money and resources, and I can tell you that the wealth of imagination that the Star Wars universe gives you, if you trust your counselors and you give them time, they're going to create amazing costumes. And they're going to rise up to, let's have that detail that fits that imagination for the campers. And I've never been disappointed, even when we first started this journey, with what the counselors have come up with. And I think every counselor and every camper and every director knows. You just give them a little room with that imagination, and you give them something as iconic as Star Wars, and there's no way they're going to let you down.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Thank you both for sharing so many awesome ideas. I think that looking through the package, there is so much information there that even if the person who's in charge of program, isn't doesn't know the universe inside and out, there's so much that they could use to take it. And I do like the universality of all the different activities.
Great.
And that was a goal. The goal of the toolkit was to educate people about Star Wars as much as to play to people who know that universe really well. And that is a surprising feature that directors will find, that if they introduce these games, they're pretty self-explanatory, and as Amy said, they're skinned and modifications. If you dig down deep enough, you'll see that it's modifications of traditional games, and counselors will relate to it. And you don't have to have watched every movie 30 or 40 times like to understand what's happening. What you know is your imagination is going to kick in, and that there's a world beyond our own, and the lessons are human lessons, and it's a fun way to spend camp for kids and counselors alike. But you don't have to know everything. You'll learn it as you're playing the games.
True.
That's brilliant. That's great. Well, so Amy, thank you for being on, and I'll come back to you to just give us the website address one more time before you go, but I do want to close. I didn't give Camp Kern much of a plug, Jeff, so why don't you tell us a bit about the camp and how people can find out what the stuff you're doing there?
Sure. Camp Kern's website is www.campkern.org. Camp Kern is one of the largest camps in the United States. We see 65,000 guests a year in our year-round operation. We have summer camp, corporate retreats, an equestrian center. We have Ozone Zipline Adventures, the largest canopy tour in the Midwest. We've been pretty blessed with what we have here at camp in Southwest Ohio. And it's just it's a great camp. It's a great experience. And we're really, really proud of our pop culture themed programming like Star Wars. I think literary camps and pop culture based camps are really relevant today because it's something that kids can attach to right away, and we can still get that camp magic and those camp lessons through it. I have nothing against musical chairs, but I think that you can have more of an effect when you're using things that kids are seeing daily in pop culture and media and turn it into a positive lesson. And so I'm really proud of the toolkit and really proud of where it's gone. And I couldn't be more grateful to Amy and the team at Lucasfilm. They're pretty amazing people. And any chance you get to work with this toolkit, you'll see how amazing those people are.
And Jeff's been amazing. He's made this what it is. We appreciate
Perfect. Perfect. So thanks very much, Jeff. I'm grateful to get the camp director's perspective on it and to have someone who obviously feels passionate about Star Wars walk us through how it can affect the community and the program at camp. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Amy, one more time, can you give us the address of the toolkit?
Of course, yes. You can visit www.starwars.com/camptoolkit.com. And again, if you have any questions on how to use it, on if you can use the Star Wars name, if you can use the images, any questions at all, you can email us at publicity@lucasfilm.com. Thank you so much, Travis.
Well, I really appreciate you being on, and I must say, as a member of the camp community, thank you to Lucasfilm for putting all this effort into it. It's great to have resources, and honestly, it's nice to have some recognition from people outside of camp for the great work that camps are doing, and any support that camps can get, we're grateful.
So important to get kids outdoors these days and playing.
Yeah, and playing, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.